Hi folks, it's Paul McKeever reporting from the cottage in the Haliburtons of Ontario. And we're sitting lakeside here on one of the lakes that shall remain nameless at the time of a beautiful sunset. And I just thought I'd start off by sharing that with you. There have been a few posts recently on YouTube concerning what is objectivism, what is not objectivism. So, there's a few things that should be immediately apparent to anybody who's, familiar with some of the basics of Rand's philosophy. In particular, the law of identity, which she attributes, of course, properly to Aristotle. And what effectively it says is that a thing is what it is. Now, Ayn Rand developed a philosophy. She gave that philosophy a name. The name she gave to it was Objectivism, capital O. And therefore, whenever someone's referring to her philosophy, as opposed to anyone else's philosophy, they can properly use the word objectivism to refer to her philosophy. Now, there are people, a great number of people, who think that if you just extract some of the basics from Rand's philosophy and then add your own things to it, or if you modify Rand's philosophy in some way, or if you correct it in some way, if you think there's an error, that you can still call it, objectivism. Well, that's to ignore the law of identity. That's to ignore the fact that a thing is what a thing is. That A is A. And Rand's philosophy is Rand's philosophy. It's not Rand's philosophy plus some corrections, subject to some corrections. Rand's philosophy as modified by David Kelly or anybody else. It is Rand's philosophy. It's fine to pull bits and pieces from Rand's philosophy, the parts you agree with, and to say that you agree with Rand in this way or that way, and that it's Rand's idea that you're agreeing with or disagreeing with. However, it's not fine after doing so to then call the resulting philosophy that you've put together objectivism. It's not. And it's not because it's your philosophy, not Ayn Rand's philosophy. Now, this isn't a question of who owns the word objectivism. It's not a question of ownership of a word. It's a question of passing off something that's not Ayn Rand's philosophy as though it were. Ask yourself why anybody would want to call their philosophy objectivism. Why not, linearism or any other ism you can imagine? Why did they pick objectivism? The people who use that word to represent a philosophy that is not Ayn Rand's, but that is similar perhaps to Ayn Rand's, use the word objectivism because they think that, they will have an ability to promote their philosophy under the name that has already been made famous by Ayn Rand, objectivism. They think, in fact, that they can correct objectivism, make it their own philosophy, make objectivism more like the one that they want it to be. In other words, they're trying to misrepresent what objectivism is, to discourage people from agreeing with Rand and to see things their own way, to interpret objectivism their own way, to try and encourage objectivists to agree with them that objectivism is flawed as Ayn Rand presented it, and that if they only agreed with me and agreed with my changes, well then we could still all be objectivists, we could still all be one big happy family, but I'd be the guy who was right and Rand would be the guy who was wrong, right? So Ayn Rand's philosophy is Ayn Rand's philosophy. Objectivism is objectivism, and Ayn Rand's philosophy is objectivism. It's that simple.